Hello, everybody. Josh Neighbors here, Locked On Nationals podcast. Today is the 25th of May, 2022. And on today's show, we have a three-game set of the Nationals and the Dodgers. To recap, the Nationals dropped the first two, and then they win the third game of the series, their first win against the Dodgers since Game 5 of the 2019 NLDS. So obviously an important win there. It kind of recalls back some memories. Talk about today's series or today's game, the entire series, what it means for the Nats moving forward, all that and more coming up on today's show.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody. Once again, Josh Neighbors here, Locked On Nationals podcast, 25th of May, 2022. Glad you all are joining us today. So the Nationals had a three-game series against the Dodgers, and they took the final game of the series, so they go 1-2. Set everything up. Before we do, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at LO_Nationals. You guys can follow me at Josh Neighbors _. You guys can find the show wherever you get your podcast, and we're on YouTube as well. Send in those questions to us. Love having you guys comment on the videos. If you all haven't checked out some of the recent work, it's been pretty good. Lindsey Crosby and I had some conversations about, hey, what could a Juan Soto trade package look like? And, I talked about good work on the channel. He went above and beyond creating a bunch of possible trade packages for the Nationals from different teams. And we talked about them. We tweaked some of them. We talked about some that might be acceptable. We'd love for you guys to go check out that episode and also tell us your thoughts about some of those trade packages. A lot of them very interesting. I thought a lot of them were actually, there were some that were fair and that could have been tweaked, a player or two here or there. And, maybe the Nationals do consider one of those deals for Juan Soto. So make sure you guys check those out. Those episodes are in your podcast feed. They're also, you guys can find them on YouTube as well. All right, so where the Nationals sit right now? Well, they are 15-30. This puts them right now. They're actually going to be, I think, 13 and a half games back. Or they haven't updated the standings. I'm not sure yet for the Mets game. But they're around somewhere 13, 14 games back of the Mets. They are currently 6.5 back of the Phillies. And in that range, like 6.5, around 6.5, because they haven't updated these once again. They have now gotten to 6-17 at home. So glad they're taking that step forward. They have a minus 63 run differential. They have one game now, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. So the Nationals not playing great baseball, but we knew that as well. So look, this series felt like in the beginning, the first two games especially, not really competitive. 10-1 and then 9-4, and we'll go over those games. The Nationals offense scores 6 runs throughout the entire series and really struggled on the whole. And, we talked about them, like there's a disconnect. Their average, the team average is good, but the thing the Nats really do struggle with is extra base hits. It's not a team that's hitting, a lot of doubles, a lot of triples, home runs, driving in guys in scoring position. This team is just not there right now when it comes to that. And we've known that. And look, there's not a lot of guys in this team that, have a ton of pop. Like there's Soto, there is Cruz, there is Bell. But outside of that, Cesar Hernandez, not a lot of pop. Alcides Escobar, not a lot of pop. Lane Thomas, not a lot of pop. Michael Franco's got some pop, right? He's there, and Riley Adams can have some pop. Keibert Ruiz does sometimes. Obviously, he's catcher's not playing every single day. This team, and the pop really hasn't shown that much. I know Soto had a power surge, but it's not like he's had a red hot, hitting season. Nelson Cruz obviously is just rallying now and kind of getting the bat in form. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but that offense continues to struggle, and it did against good pitching. But let's talk about that game today. We'll work backwards as we always do. The Nationals win 1-0 over the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, this game, the offense was not excellent. But the big story for me is Erick Fedde continues his stretch of really strong starts. For Fedde, 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, one walk on the day, and 6 Ks in 90 innings. Now, there was some traffic on the base paths a little bit, yeah, but he was fantastic today. And, I saw him in the dugout having a conversation with Dave Martinez. Maybe does he go out there again? But we saw last time they sent him out for an extra inning, he gave up a couple home runs right off the bat. So, that's probably good that they decided to pull the trigger, I guess, or, pull the trigger on getting him out of the game a little faster. And got to shout out Carl Edwards Jr., got to shout out Kyle Finnegan, got to shout out Tanner Rainey. And, we'll get to some of those guys here in a second. But for Fedde, this was one of the best days that he has had, especially with control of his pitches. He was really in command from the get-go today. And I had talked about, really the month he is putting together, and don't have the composite stats up now, but this will now put it at 27 and 2/3 innings worked on the month. Only 21 hits allowed. I'm doing the math in my head right now. In those 27 and 2/3 innings, just 6 earned runs allowed in that stretch. 14 walks, so relatively high, and then the 6 Ks today puts him at 23. So his numbers have been really strong, and the pitch count was high today. Gets a big double play. I think it was in the 5th. That was really important. He's just in a groove right now. He is the best Nationals starting pitcher right now, and that's pretty crazy to say. We talked about this with Matt Wyrick of NBC Sports Washington. We talked to him about this earlier in the week, y'all. But the idea of the last couple of years, he was maybe on the outside looking in. This was not a guy where it felt like he was going to be guaranteed a spot in this Nationals rotation. He wasn't guaranteed a spot this year in the Nationals rotation, right? But think about last year. Strasburg, Corbin, Scherzer, all those guys, you think that we're going to see them. Joe Ross is there as well. Erick Fedde has the opportunity to join into the mix, and there was, kind of a fighting for that last couple spots in that rotation. You come this year, and there's I thought it was him from the beginning, but you bring in Anibal Sanchez, and you don't really know what's going to happen there with that that final spot. And so we didn't pencil him in as a starting pitcher the last 2 seasons, but nonetheless, he has gotten that role. And I think late last year and really the last month for him has been really strong. Let's see if he's going to make, and I'm still on my other computer. If you guys heard me the other day, my normal laptop just completely shut off. So we're using phone for stats because the current computer I'm using is old. It cannot handle me opening other windows and also doing the video at the same time. So the Nationals in this month have 5 games left. So we know Erick Fedde's month might not be done. He might have a chance to add one more really good game here in the rest of the month. And I just think, once again, it's important that while this team is bad, we acknowledge things that are going really well. And what's going really well right now for the Nationals is Erick Fedde. Look at the ERAs of the guys who are your starting pitchers right now. Josiah Gray, and we'll talk about him in a second, gets whipped the other night. He's up above, he's at 5.44 now. Patrick Corbin, 6.60 with a 1.69 whip, minus 0.7 WAR. Yoan Adome, 6.97 for him. Aaron Sanchez, 7.16 for him. And then Josh Rogers, who's now gotten the pen, that's really helped the ERA get down, is at 4.40. So for the guys making starts, Erick Fedde is kind of the best guy in that category right now. Once again, he's having a fantastic month. And this felt like it was almost the crown jewel of all of those performances because it was against a really good Dodgers team that had put up 19 runs the first 2 games of the series. Their bats were hot, and he cooled them off with the performance that he had today. And not to mention, I mentioned this the other day, but let's mention this again, the number of good teams that Erick Fedde has pitched against on this run right now in the month of May. He had the Rockies in the road, where that was that spectacular 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run was earned, 2 walks, and 3 Ks. Great performance there. He has faced off against Colorado, the Angels. Houston was the one rough patch where he gives up the 3 earned runs in 4 innings, so not some disastrous start, but also they won the game. And then against Milwaukee last time, 5 2/3, and it felt like he should have been out there to start the 6th, and he gave up 2 earned runs in that stretch. Still, 2.49 ERA now going into the in this month, going into the day, and then obviously adds the 6 scoreless today, picks up the win right here. So he's 3-3 on the season. ERA now well below 3 at this point in time. Actually, I had it up here a second ago. Let me pull this up for you all. Make sure I get this thing correct. Shout out to CBS Sports for actually having it done by now. 3.55 the ERA for Erick Fedde in now the month, or at least the year, and then we'll see what it comes down to for the entire month of May. So Fedde, strong stuff. The bullpen guys we have to mention. So Carl Edwards Jr. in his first appearance gets absolutely rocked, and now he's been able to put together a bunch of really strong outings. Has not surrendered an earned run since that first outing against the Mets. It has now been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive outings for Carl Edwards Jr., all of them at least 1 inning of relief where he has not surrendered an earned run. So there's a guy, add this to the docket on that today, that's going to make this 8 consecutive games. Actually had that today. 7 consecutive games in relief for him where he has not allowed an earned run. He has really rounded into form. Kyle Finnegan today had some traffic on. All these guys had traffic on the base pass, by the way, out of the bullpen. He looked really strong, was able to get themselves out of it. And his pitching to me has really improved. I mean, he had a rough start to the year, but things for him have been going a lot better as of late. And then also Tanner Rainey, little dicey there in the 9th, headed to a 3-2 count, and Trey Turner on deck could have walked. I'm forgetting who it was, the bottom of the order, but a walk there, turning things over to Will Smith, who's, I think he is pinch hitting in that situation, I believe. With Will Smith, it could have spelled disaster, but no, he gets out of it, and so for him to get the job done there, really impressive to have those 3 guys stand up and look like. When I say it's really impressive, it's because Carl Edwards Jr., AAA, right? Kyle Finnegan had been good, but like before his Nationals run, no experience in the bigs. Tanner Rainey, yikes. At times this year, it's been yikes. Think about what happened last year too. You got to be really happy with the way that he has delivered, especially, in some big moments this year in that 9th spot. And also, he's not getting a ton of chances to close out games, and get saves. And so gets the save today. But, for him, he's had, at least this month, has not been the best month for him. So for him to rally like that is very good for the Nationals. And also, I think he is an asset too. We'll see what happens with his future, but I think it's somebody that, if he keeps pitching this well, the Nationals, as much as the lineup's hitting for average, I actually think, it's weird to say, their bullpen might help them get some of the better assets here when we think about, the trade deadline. A lot of this is, I learned a lot of talk is what we're centered around here, and we're appreciating some of the good play. But think about the trade deadline when you get there, some of the arms they have in the bullpen. Arano's been really good, and they think they're doing on him. Erasmo Ramirez has been really good. Kyle Finnegan's been really good. Tanner Rainey has been really good. Carl Edwards now has been really good and improving. Obviously, a couple guys go down too, but so I think they've got some assets in the bullpen now, and those guys continuing to pitch well. There were some mistakes today on the base paths. Alcides Escobar at third on that ball that was hit to short. No reason for him to get out at third, and also Juan Soto getting caught with Nelson Cruz up is a bad look. Luckily, the lineup did enough today to get the job done and get the win. The Nationals, they're having some of the better guys and some of the older guys, playing like they're on a losing ball club. It's something to watch too. All right, let's talk about the losses the Nationals took, but first, a quick word from our sponsors. Today's show was brought to you by Built Bar, built.com today. That's built.com. Use the promo code LOCK15, LOCKED15, LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. They've got Built Go. They've got Built Boost. They've got built puffs. They've got everything you guys could want there for a healthy lifestyle, a delicious lifestyle as well. Once again, built.com today. Promo code LOCK15, LOCKED 15 LOCK15 for 15% off today. All right, the 9-4 loss. This one, really not a very close game. The Dodgers were all over the Nats. They got 2 in the first, 3 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Also, it was a 3-2 game, a 3-2 game at one point, but Walker Buehler settled in after that bad bottom of the first inning and pitched really well. Guys did not pitch well. Josiah Gray, folks. 3 innings, 5 hits, 7 runs, all earned, 3 walks, 5 Ks, 3 home runs allowed. It's beginning to become a trend for him. It was a trend before. It's really kept up. He is just he's pretty consistent, actually. I'll give him this. He is pretty consistent. But here's the problem for him. The number of home runs given up in his last few outings: 3 into Los Angeles, 1 against Miami, 3 against Houston, and 2 against Los Angeles. This guy is, this kid is really talented. We know he can be really good, but while Erick Fedde, ironically, has been the one stepping up against really good competition, getting the job done. When we've seen now, say he did really well. Josiah did when he pitched against the Giants to start off the month, but after that, man, like the Los Angeles game, 3 earned runs, 5 1/3, that's fine, but the couple home runs right there, 6 earned runs allowed, 3 homers allowed against the Astros. That one's tough right there. Good start against the Marlins after that. They only allow a home run, which is fine though. 6 innings, 3 runs that are earned, 7 Ks, no walks. And then 3 innings, 5 hits, 7 runs, 3 earned. I mean, 3 of the 5 hits he gave up, guys, were home runs. This guy has a problem with his misses being bad misses that he leaves over the zone. I think these are good lessons. I continue to think these are good lessons. How many times are you going to get burned by really good lineups? It's not like his stuff's not good enough. You know what I mean? We know his stuff is good enough. 5 Ks in the 3 innings that he pitched. Like, we know he's got stuff to get guys out, generate swings and misses, but you're generating a whole lot of swings and hard contact as well. He's got to be better there across the board in that situation. Also, want to shout out Carl Edwards yesterday's game, inning a third, 3 Ks. Finnegan also yesterday too worked a clean inning as well. So those guys doing a good job yesterday. Offense, K-Bear Ruiz and Nelson Cruz each having multi-hit games. Nelson Cruz, that's what kind of makes it painful to see the Nationals, or rather Juan Soto, take the bat out of his hands. This was their best offensive game of the series. They only scored 4 runs though, which leads us to the first game of the series. Yikes in this game. Tyler Anderson on the day for the Dodgers in a 10-1 win, 8 innings, 5 hits, 8 Ks, no walks, getting the job done. This was a 10-1 win. Yoan Adon gets tagged in this game. 4 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. All 6 are earned, 4 walks as well, in addition to 4 Ks, 92 pitches. And also Austin Voth, another really horrible. It might be over for Austin Voth. He has been absolutely god awful this year. He has a 9.35 ERA. Austin Voth does on this season. So I'll tell you what, if you're going to pair those two together, it's going to be a disaster for you. Austin Voth in 7 2/3 innings in the month here of May, a 14.09 ERA. And on this season, once again, it's north of 9. Voth has been bad, and so that's been something the Nationals have had to deal with here as well. But the pitching matchup kind of tells you the entire story here. The Nationals, one good upshot here is they were 3 for 5 runners in scoring position. They only scored 1 run though, which is the huge issue out of all of this. Josh Bell, this was the game where he kind of got off the schneid a little bit with a pair of hits in this one. So that was actually something positive that happened. But overall, once again, y'all, this is the 7th consecutive series that the Nationals have dropped. Now, tomorrow we're going to preview the Colorado Rockies series. This is an opportunity maybe for the Nats to break that streak. Rockies been really bad so far. So the Nationals have been awful at home. But positive things. The pen is showing up big time, all right? They've got some valuable commodities there. Maybe for the Nationals, they keep them for years to come, to help them build next year or, down the road. Maybe they get rid of these guys and flip them for good prospects because we know people need pitching. Carl Edwards Jr. has been fantastic since that first game against the Mets. Kyle Finnegan is on a roll right now. Tanner Rainey shows you can get out some big spots. Maybe he goes somewhere, and I doubt he'd be the closer, but with the stuff that he has and the year he's had so far and a new role for him, maybe a seventh, maybe an eighth inning guy on a team that needs a guy. So those guys have been good. And Erick Fedde continuing to deliver really good starts against really good lineups. He's earned his keep. He's going to remain in the Nationals rotation. There's no doubt about that. He also, too, has become a really strong asset, but his month of May has been absolute fire from a pitching perspective. The best Nationals pitcher right now, it's Erick Fedde, folks. All right, that will do it for today's show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at @LO_Nationals. You guys can follow me at @JoshNeighbors_. Till next time, my friends, as always, stay safe.